There are many great and powerful heroes set to appear in Avengers Doomsday, but Thor is beginning to look like not only the strongest Avenger, but also the most important. A decade after Captain America: Civil War, the new film will once again see a schism in the balance of power and conflict between the franchise's biggest stars. The Marvel Cinematic Universe has introduced many of the strongest Marvel characters, and several of these will feature in the new film. With a colorful cast that includes featured characters as disparate as Shang-Chi and Gambit, there is much to anticipate in specific matchups, interactions, and conflicts in the new story, featuring characters both new and old. Most important, however, are the core Avengers characters. Chris Evans' Steve Rogers has been a major focus of the marketing, and the return of Robert Downey, Jr. to the series, even as a new character, is perhaps the most exciting feature of the upcoming film. Even Tom Hiddleston's Loki, villain of the Avengers, is set to play a role. However, not everyone will return. Franchise veterans Mark Ruffalo and Jeremy Renner are not listed among the Avengers Doomsday cast, despite still seemingly being alive in the universe. Other figures, including Scarlett Johansson's Natasha Romanoff, are also absent after the death of their characters. With all of this considered, Thor actually plays a compelling and unusual role in the upcoming film. His unique place in the story and his status in the franchise do some unexpected work in setting up the new film. Thor, 2011, introduced Chris Hemsworth's hero to the MCU. The first Thor movie, directed by Kenneth Branagh 15 years ago, broke open the Marvel Cinematic Universe in a new and exciting way. The fourth film in the franchise, Thor turned Chris Hemsworth into a household name, but also expanded the scope of what a Marvel Cinematic Universe project could be. In Phase 1 of the MCU, the series had introduced a unique world that to that point had featured only Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man and Edward Norton's Hulk. While bold and exciting characters, they were grounded in the real world, a contrast to Branagh's universe-expanding Thor. Thor saw a contrast between realities and presented a fish-out-of-water story for the powerful hero. It depicted bigger stakes than the character stories of the franchise to that point, and even brought in concepts, ideas, and characters that would go on to color the massive crossovers of the series, including the villainous Loki. All of this worked because of Hemsworth's powerful portrayal. Thor was a uniquely human idea of a god, with complexity that was only rivaled by his overwhelming power. Despite his abilities, Thor also contended with incredible humanity and weakness that allowed him to build relationships with the terrestrial characters in the film. Chris Hemsworth's Thor has come a long way since his first solo movie. Kenneth Branagh's Thor was a big deal, but the character has gone through so many changes and evolution since. The Avengers realized the scale of his conflicts, where he had to contend with Loki's power when wielded against humanity. Still, it was actually his next appearance that would set up the path of Thor's future. From Thor: The Dark World onward, Thor's story would largely be marked by loss. In that film, his mother, Frigga, is killed by curse. Despite his incredible abilities, Thor is unable to stop this from happening. Reflections on this event played into the character's later journey, including during the important Avengers Endgame time heist. Realizing the limits to his own powers, Thor has endured a complex emotional journey in the franchise. This was well expressed with his story in Avengers Infinity War and Endgame, where he was forced to ruminate on his failures and their ripples on a cosmic scale. While sometimes these beats were played without the sensitivity they deserved, including the character's trauma manifesting as weight gain being played for a laugh, the intention behind these moments was still real. All of this went a long way in informing Thor's last appearance and adoption of a daughter in Thor: Love and Thunder. Why Thor is Avengers Doomsday's secret weapon. Marvel Studios. Thor is actually the Avenger who has been in the universe the longest of all the characters featured in Doomsday. While Hulk appeared earlier, he was played by Edward Norton, and is not currently slated to appear in the film. The only other Avenger that predates him in the universe is Tony Stark, and while Robert Downey Jr. is in the film, it is as another character. All of this goes to show that Chris Hemsworth's Thor is actually the most important character in the movie. Representing the legacy of the franchise, Thor also has depicted many of the feelings of legacy that are associated with the brand at this point. There is an element of moving into a new era that is represented by his relationship with Love, but he also carries everything that came before. Thor is among the most powerful Avengers and will be among the most pivotal figures in resisting Doctor Doom's oppression. But Thor is also important because of his history and legacy in the brand. While Chris Evans and Robert Downey Jr. have been discussed, Chris Hemsworth has the potential to play an even more important role in the Avengers lineup. Avengers Doomsday is sure to be a thrilling spectacle, but it is becoming clear that Thor is actually the necessary heart and soul of the movie. With the most important power set, the most emotional history, and the most significant things to prove, audiences can expect to see Thor's arc given great focus in the new film.